For months now, we know that Sadie Sink will make her MCU debut in Spider-Man Brand New Day. But even now, 2 months before release, her role has yet to be confirmed. And through all of the leaks and rumors, I believe that Jean Grey makes the most amount of sense. So, that's why I'm making this video. Let's begin. The first piece of evidence is that Kevin Feige has been keeping himself busy with the next 2 Avengers movies. But he stepped away for 2 things. The first thing was bringing back Jake Schreier for the MCU X-Men movie. The second thing, however, is casting Sadie Sink in this role. So we already know that she's important. Also, it can't be a coincidence that the other thing Feige stepped away for was also X-Men related. The second piece of evidence is that Sadie Sink is confirmed to be coming back for Avengers Secret Wars, meaning that her role in Brand New Day is not just a one-time thing, but actually important in some way. The third reason is keeping her role a secret in the first place. Many names have been thrown around for characters that Sadie Sink could be playing, but almost all of those characters are not known by many people, so revealing those roles shouldn't be this big of a secret. The fourth reason is that she's literally wearing green and yellow, the colors of Marvel Girl. The fifth reason is that her character is captured by the Department of Damage Control. Now that might seem like a who cares point, but hear me out. In Wonder Man, we are being shown that the DODC wants to lock people up just because they need to fill the cells. Now, they obviously can't do that with characters like Spider-Man, Daredevil, Captain America, stuff like that. But do you know who they could do that to? Wonder Man, Miss Marvel, Jean Grey, mutants as a whole. And this is not confirmed, so I'm not throwing it in as a separate point, but it's rumored that Tramiel Tillman is playing the character of William Metzger, who, if you didn't know, is an X-Men villain who created the Anti-Mutant Militia. So that also connects to Sadie playing Jean Grey. The sixth point is that Lucas Werneck, a artist working at Marvel, has drawn Jean a few times looking a lot like Sadie. In one of them, you can even tell which images he used as reference. And the seventh point is that basically all of the leakers are saying Sadie is playing Jean Grey, some of them even being more than a year ago. With all of this evidence, and probably some others that I'm forgetting, we can conclude that Sadie Sink is playing Jean Grey in the MCU. But why? Why would Marvel introduce Jean Grey in the next Spider-Man movie? Well, I'm glad you asked, because it actually makes perfect sense. The out-of-universe reason is that Jean's last movies were, let's just say, not well received. It makes total sense to introduce her in the sequel to the best Spider-Man movie and before the next 2 Avengers movies. But let's now tackle the in-universe reason. Why would Jean Grey be in this movie? Well, that's also easy, so let me explain it to you all. Let's start with the DODC. If Sadie is playing Jean Grey, she probably hasn't met Charles Xavier yet, so she's not in complete control of her powers yet, and she also hasn't had much training yet. So if she used her powers, accidentally or not, the DODC will come for her and lock her up just to fill a cell. Which leads us to the next part of this. Through leaked images, it's shown that Sadie's character and the Punisher will be sharing at least one scene together. Now, why would those characters be together? There are a few different reasons, so I'm going to go through all of them. The first possibility is that Frank has been hired by the DODC to track down Jean Grey, or he's just looking for her himself. Another possibility is that Spider-Man is actually also there, but is just off-screen in this particular image. But the one that I personally believe the most is that the Punisher is protecting Jean Grey from the DODC. As stated earlier, Jean won't be fully in control of her powers. That's why she needs protection from the Punisher. And as I've already stated in a previous video, after One Last Kill, Frank has stopped using his family as an excuse to be the Punisher. Now he's protecting people and using that to continue being the Punisher. So, picture yourself as Frank Castle for a few seconds. You heard about some corporation locking people up just because they'd look good in a cell for them. And then you discover that it's a young girl who they're currently after and or have already captured. I feel like anyone in that specific position would help break Jean out and protect her at all costs. But then why would Jean be antagonistic towards Spider-Man? The world famous hero? Well, it was shown in the trailer that Spider-Man will have a scene with Tramiel Tillman's character. And I could very easily see him going, "Oh yeah, that Jean Grey girl, She's very dangerous, but now that idiot with a skull on his chest has been hiding her from us. Spider-Man would obviously then track the two down and tell Frank that Jean is actually a threat. And then we could get that line of, "You're losing it, kid," because Frank knows the truth. This will then hopefully lead into a small fight between the two before it's interrupted by either Jean or the DODC. Now, Spider-Man and Punisher will be on the same page and work together to protect Jean Grey. And there's even a possibility that at the end of the movie, Jean makes some people remember Peter Parker. Maybe not everyone, but I feel like at least MJ. Which will leave Peter in a better place at the end of the movie and maybe even preventing him from turning into Man-Spider. Or, that's at least what I think. Please let me know what you all think in the comments down below. I would love to see what you are all thinking. But for now, I see you guys in the next video.